About 10 years ago, after graduating from a university in Shanghai, 4 students came together in order to fund a small studio. They formed this company under a common love, the love of ACG. It is from this love that I believe they found success, and that studio is called To understand a corporation's success, we must first start at their roots and work our way up. Think of this as the basis for everything they stood for and built their corporation upon. If their base was never sturdy, then they would have never reached such astounding heights. On September 28, 2011, 3 college students released a game by the name of Fly Me to the Moon. The game was very well received, sitting at a 4.8 on the Apple Store. The premise of the story is fairly simple, reading as follows. Fly Me to the Moon. As the heiress of the Caslanas family, the 16-year-old witch Kiana has always dreamed of fighting the eclipse and restoring honor to her family name. With 60 engaging levels, you will experience superb graphics, unique gameplay, and a captivating storyline that will make you fall in love with Kiana. The game is mostly referred to by fans of Honkai Impact as Honkai Zero, due to the game featuring Kiana, the main character of the future Honkai series. And I guess because Fly Me to the Moon doesn't really roll off the tongue now, does it? The game was a tribute to an anime they loved, EVA, or more commonly known as Evangelion. After this, they decided in 2012 to put their money together and create a small indie company by the name of Mihoyo. Their slogan, Tech Otakus Save the World. This is a reference to them being otakus and computer scientists. It's safe to say their slogan is ambitious for 4 people, huh? It is safe to assume that ACG was within the core of their beliefs when creating Mihoyo. You might be wondering what ACG stands for at this point, right? Well, ACG is an acronym for the words anime, comics, and games. You could say it's a blanket statement for people who were once considered nerds. I'm going to come back to this point in the future due to it being directly linked to Mihoyo's success. After the creation of Fly Me to the Moon, the small team and one ghost team member named Cece, who worked on Fly Me to the Moon's art, was gifted a grant of 100,000 RMB, which is about $14,804 in USD. They put all of this money, as well as the money they received from Fly Me to the Moon, towards their next project, Zombie Gal Kawaii. During production of the Zombie Gal Kawaii, or Honkai 1, 2 students postponed graduation in order to dedicate more time towards working on the game. One of the founders left, making that now a team of 3. The team took more of a vertical approach rather than a horizontal one, in the most literal of senses. Where Honkai Zero was all about flying upwards while completing puzzles, this game was all about on-the-ground warfare against zombies using guns. Quite a drastic change in atmosphere for the studio's second game. During their release of Honkai 1 to the App Store, some problems arose. Apple rejected the game multiple times during the months of November, and even through the first half of December, until finally allowing a release on December 13th. Though the release was bumpy, it was not the only thing wrong with the game. It never made a big enough return to outpace their losses. Though the game was ambitious and overall praised for its gameplay, all it did was spread Mihoyo's reputation. But little did the public know at that time that all they needed was their reputation. On March of 2014, Mihoyo released Gun Gals, or Honkai Zero. It quickly became a hit sensation, reaching the top of the Android paid charts. Within the first month of its release, Mihoyo made an approximate $1.6 million of revenue from the game. Though the game was more of an updated version of the second game, Honkai 1, with the help of Bibli, Chinese version of YouTube, they were able to promote their game far more than their last game. They also added a system called Pay for Lucky Draw. Due to the game being so old and only releasing in China, it's hard for me to find what this system was, but it's safe to say that it was a form of gacha. This technique of releasing a free-to-play game with gacha mechanics would persist even to this day. Next up are the 2 biggest reasons why Mihoyo is successful. This is not just a form of success in China, but a worldwide success, something that transcends borders. In order to get my point across in the most effective way, I'm going to have to take an unorthodox approach of the matter as a whole. I'll first go over the base introduction of Honkai Impact 3rd, then I'll go over Genshin Impact, before finally concluding my point back at Honkai Impact 3rd. That may seem a little convoluted now, but it will all make sense when I get to it. Honkai Impact is a 3D arena hack-and-slash game featuring nearly everybody from the Gun Gals game, including the original Kiana from the Fly Me to the Moon as the protagonist. You see, in Gun Gals, the final boss is the evil Kiana who was taken control over by the second Hersher, an evil being wanting to wipe all life from the planet. At the end of the game, the second Hersher wins, effectively restarting the world back to a new beginning. This is the basis for Honkai Impact 3. It's a reboot of the franchise, carrying over several beloved characters as well as a cast of new ones. They updated the graphics to 3D models and changed the gameplay from a side-scroller to a hack and slash. So much innovation went into this production that it's hard to find, even in this day and age, of mobile games with an equal amount of creativity. Not only that, but this was the first title released worldwide. It would be easy to say that this was their magnum opus, but to the world's surprise, it was simply the prelude to something incredible. After releasing Honkai Impact to astounding success, they attempted to focus on the Honkai IP and broaden it to both an RPG game as well as a card game. After failing to list as an A-share in China due to their focus on a singular successful IP, they decided that they would have to broaden the number of IPs they have under their wing. What is an A-share, you might be wondering? Well, think of it in terms of a stock in the stock market that can only be traded amongst people inside of China. If you are still interested in this subject, I'll put up a picture on the screen listing off some of the benefits of an A-share. Pause now if you'd like to read it, or you can click on the link in the description for more. In layman's terms, A-share is the best share. After being denied an A-share, they decided to just make one of the biggest IPs to be released in the last decade, Genshin Impact. Released as a free-to-play gacha game on iPhone, Android, PS4, PS5, and PC. When first announced, it was believed to be a simple Breath of the Wild clone, but in actuality, it kinda was. It took the open world aspects from Breath of the Wild, including puzzles, dungeons, and gliding. What it did differently was turn that into a live service game featuring new events, new regions to explore, and an ever-expanding story growing with every patch. It was everything people love from Breath of the Wild, and so much more. It was a game they could keep playing week after week with the future holding a fountain of endless possibilities. All of this was before people started to realize the faults of the game, cough cough, resin, cough cough, but that's more of a story for a different time. The game also featured stunning anime-inspired visuals which only pushed for their love of ACG. Within a single year, the company made an estimated $340,000,000. What was that? 340 billion? Or is that million? I think it's million. $340 million in mobile revenue alone, making it the most profitable mobile game released. Another form of profit that the company received, that not a lot of people talk about, is money received through non-mobile avenues. For example, I don't know a single other gacha game that was on PS4 until its release. It's safe to say that even if it wasn't the first gacha game released on the PS4, it was the most popular. And, with a large market never before experiencing the predatory actions of a gacha game, I'm sure dozens of people lost thousands of dollars experiencing the system firsthand. Now that we've laid the groundwork, how did Mihoyo gain all of this success? It's a simple answer. Luck. Is that too much of an anticlimactic answer? Well, it would be unfair to not at least mention one of the key defining reasons. After all, Genshin Impact released at a perfect time during a lockdown while every other game was being delayed. Not even God himself could have planned that release any better. Let's move over to the second reason, and arguably the most important one, anime. Once upon a time, anime used to be the thing that only nerds would watch, but now its popularity has absolutely pierced the mainstream. One Punch Man and My Hero Academia were once trending in the USA, a once impossible occurrence now made possible. Due to Mihoyo specializing in anime-style games, it was only inevitable for them to acquire a larger audience in the West. Finally, we come to our last reason, a reason that was stated plain as day at the start of this video. Love. Or, in more comprehensive terms, passion. Let's head back to Honkai 3, shall we? From this point forward, I'll be spoiling the first 9 chapters of Honkai's story mode, so please experience it yourself if you haven't. Honkai's story plays out very similarly to an anime. You have your cast of characters going to a school where the students learn how to fight people corrupted by the Honkai energy. You could say the game is strictly tailored towards anime fans in this way. It builds upon itself with cool visuals, overly dramatic movesets, and grandiose settings that would only normally be possible through the use of animation. This is also an ode to their previous series, Honkai 0 through 2, delivering to them compelling stories as well as side quests for the player to experience each main character's backstory. It was their first ambitious title, making an incredible leap from 2D side-scrolling shooter to a 3D hack and slash. Even if a single thing were to collapse, the entire game could have crumbled beneath their ambitions. And then, you have every other mobile game. All the cookie clickers, the tower defenses, the Candy Crush clones. Ambition is not a word used lightly in their mobile space. Ambition meant nothing. Every game was a copy of a copy of a copy. The last ambitious game created was Flappy Bird, which was then ultimately copied and copied and copied. The mobile space breeds this easy work. It's safer to allow others to test things out and lose millions than for you to test things out and lose instead. Simply wait while others do the work and then steal the work and make it your own. That is where Mihoyo differs. They are the de facto group who have done nothing but innovate the entire mobile space. Mobile games have only gotten better and expanded its range of genres because of Mihoyo's risk-taking. Ni no Kuni Cross Worlds, 7 Deadly Sins Origins, Tower of Fantasy. These games only exist because of Mihoyo's risk-taking. But why do they take risks? Why do they take the chance of losing money on their investments? Why do all these things that could cause your company's downfall? Well, I've said it before. Passion. With passion coursing through their veins, with Lady Luck blessing their release, and with their love for anime, it only pushed them towards an inevitable gold standard. A gold standard that blessed us with the initial release of Genshin Impact, a gold standard that blessed us with Honkai Impact, and a gold standard which every other mobile game produced is still trying to reach, that blessed us with this one immaculate scene.
少佐姫子、私は最強のバルキリーになるの。キアラ、顔を上げなさい。あんたは前に進むのよ。この不完全な物語をあんたの望む姿に変えなさい。生きなさい、キアナ。これで授業はおしまいよ。
I did them all for a chance at least to live.